My name is Marco Piras. I am a member of the Emeritus project. So this is a joint workshop between the two European projects, Emeritus and Paravillion. The title of this workshop is Leveraging Geomatics for Environmental Crime Detection, Innovation Challenge and Future Direction. So both of these projects are dedicated on environmental crime. And then, so today the goal is to investigate how the geomatic tools and the geomatic methodologies can help the local enforcement and also the researcher and also the agency, the public agency for the crime detection. So then today we have a very full agenda, so then we introduce my colleague, so Alessandro Castagnetti from SAFE Institute, so that he has the first keynote speech about just an overview about the environmental crime in Italy and EU, in European region, and just to introduce the role of the Paravillion and Emeritus Consortium. So please, Alessandro.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. So as Marco introduced, I'm going to give you a very short overview of the environmental crimes more generally, and then I will introduce the two main projects, Paravillion and Emeritus, and afterwards we will have more the technical component part of the workshop. So I'm sure that all of you are well aware that environmental crimes are illegal activities that harm the environment. I think that two main points are to be considered here. The first one is that it's one of the most lucrative crimes out there. This means that it's not only criminal activities, but it's also organized crime, making these crimes, of course, even more important and more dangerous to both the environment and the populations. If we look at different KPIs, we can see that the harm, the disasters caused by environmental crimes are large. We can think this in terms of areas lost, in terms of forest, of sea, of land, but also in terms of the damages to the population. For example, if we look at air pollution, it's been estimated that we have around 7 million premature deaths per year globally, and in Europe, this is about 500,000 people every year. As I mentioned before, there are different consequences of environmental crime. I think that we have to always consider this not only harm to the environment, but it's also harm to the populations. And so we can talk about air pollution, water contamination, pesticides, pollution diseases, illegal deforestation, but ultimately also climate change, and not that this brings forward, for example, migration, political destabilization, and so on and so forth. If we look at environmental crimes in Italy, we can see also that the figures are quite large. There are around 35,000 crimes estimated in 2023, and it's been increasing over the last years. And if we want to have these estimates in terms of days, it's about 100 crimes per day, meaning 4 crimes every hour. If we look at different reports, for example, like Ambiente, we can see that there are different crimes that contribute to the phenomenon, the most important ones being the first 4, cement-related crimes related to construction process and also illegal quarries, waste crimes, so illegal trafficking, illegal disposal of waste, animals, meaning fishing, for example, illegal fisheries. We can think about hunting or also trafficking of species, and arson in terms, of course, of fires, mainly for agricultural purposes or even for revenge purposes, so personal crimes. If we look at the map in Italy, these crimes are well spread across Italy, although it seems that a larger number of crimes are committed in the south of Italy, as you can see from the picture below. Although there are also some provinces, for example Venice, that have seen a high increase in crimes per year. So, getting more into our projects, Perivalon and Emeritus, we know that the way to fight environmental crime is a joint effort between different bodies, different institutions, going from government agencies, law enforcement agencies, international organizations, judicial bodies, but also we need the help of private sectors in terms, for example, of new technologies, academia, research institutions, and also NGOs. In fact, so here, for some reason, the pictures are not well aligned in this version of the PDF. But anyway, here what I want to say is to introduce that a lot of new technologies are being introduced to fight environmental crime in terms, for example, of satellite imaging, artificial intelligence, blockchain, UAVs, environmental sensors, and so on and so forth. And you will see better these components from the framework of Perivalon and Emeritus. There are a lot of gaps and needs that need anyway to be addressed before these technologies are effectively and efficiently used by law enforcement agencies. For example, in terms of satellite imaging, for example, we need more data, cheaper data, real-time monitoring, and so on and so forth. We need also, in terms of artificial intelligence, better quality data sets, for example, in order to train our models more effectively. And we also need systems that are able to input and to analyze data in real time, such that this data can be used then by law enforcement agencies to act upon this information. And this is exactly what the projects like Emeritus and Perivalon tries to achieve. So these are both EU-funded projects, are research and innovation projects that aim to fill the gap that I just mentioned. The first project is Emeritus. It's called Environmental Crimes Intelligence and Investigation Protocol, based on multiple data sources. And the idea is basically to provide a product for end users and border guards in order to input data, analyze data that can be used then for investigation purposes and act upon waste-related environmental crimes. The main idea of the project is to create this integrated intelligent platform based on different components that tries to input data from different sensors, different technologies, and analyze the data. In parallel, to also produce or improve protocol for waste crime investigations, to train law enforcement agencies, border guards, to be able to use this tool, and also to improve upon their protocols, their investigation methods. And we do this through the implementation of different use cases that tries to address specific issues that affect the European Union, for example, water contamination, waste storage centers monitoring, cross-border illegal waste trafficking monitoring, and identification of illegal waste discharge sites in broad areas. Perivalon is a sister project in the sense that both projects responded to the same call, so in some ways it shares similar features to Emeritus, but in some other things there are also some differences. The name comes from protecting the European territory from organized environmental crime through intelligence threat detection tools. Again, the main idea or the core of the project is to produce this platform for integrated intelligence, but here you can see also some differences compared to Emeritus. For example, there's an aspect on legal and ethical framework development, and there's also a huge emphasis on the online monitoring and analysis, which, for example, Emeritus does not look at. Anyway, the project is being developed through the use cases similar to Emeritus, and here again we have similarities and differences compared to Emeritus. So, for example, here we also have a use case looking at illegal waste disposal detection sites, which is a big problem not only in Italy but in Europe more in general. We have also the intentional dumping of polluting substances in land and water. We have the transnational illegal trafficking of waste, mainly from Europe towards Africa. And we here have an emphasis on illegal trade in ozone depleting substances. I am presenting here in the role of SAFE, so in the sense that we are part of both projects, Ementa and Perivalon. And in both projects, our role is to not only provide coordination, project management, but also to lead work packages that are related to the testing and demonstration of the technological solutions that are being developed by the technological partners that will be presented now in a bit by Polytechnic of Milan and Polytechnic of Turin. And in particular, we can use or make use of our facility, which is an ex-military base, Calvarina, in which we can recreate scenarios in a semi-controlled environment to then analyze and test the solutions proposed. And I'm sure that now my colleagues will be speaking more in detail about these technical solutions.